Picking a trading broker can feel like you're trying to walk through a minefield, right? It's about so much more than just finding the lowest fees. It's about finding a partner whose entire way of thinking actually lines up with what you're trying to do as a trader. So in this explainer, we're going to break down two very different approaches to help you find that perfect fit.
I mean, you've seen it. Every broker out there is shouting that they're the best, the cheapest, the fastest. It's so easy to just get lost in all that noise. So the real question is, how do you find a platform that's not just good, but good for you and for your money? So to really cut through all that, we're putting two heavy hitters under the microscope, and each one represents a totally different philosophy. On one side, you've got AvaTrade, which we're going to call the fortress of trust, because it's built on a foundation of security and really solid regulation. And on the other side, there's Exness, the high-speed engine built for one thing: pure performance, with ultra-low costs and execution that's just lightning fast. Okay, so before we even get into the flashy stuff like fees and features, let's start with the one thing that truly matters most: safety. You absolutely have to know your money is protected, and that all comes down to the broker's regulations and, well, the peace of mind that comes with it. All right, your absolute first line of defense, and honestly, this is a total deal breaker, is something called client asset segregation. It sounds complicated, but it's a really simple, powerful idea. Your money is kept in a bank account that is totally separate from the company's own cash. That means if the broker ever gets into financial trouble, your capital is safe and sound, completely walled off from their problems. And bam, right here is where we see the first huge difference in how these guys think. Take a look at AvaTrade. They're primarily regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland. That's one of the toughest regulators in all of Europe. Now look at Exness. Yeah, they hold top-tier licenses from places like CySEC and the FSCA in the UK, but a lot of their retail traders are actually signed up through entities in places like the Seychelles. And that has huge implications for how you're protected. So, AvaTrade's regulatory fortress, it's built on these super strict European rules known as MiFID, a system designed from the ground up to protect investors. This gives you an incredible layer of security through an investor compensation scheme. Basically, if the firm ever went bust, you're covered for 90% of your money, up to 20,000 euros. That is a huge safety net. And this brings us to the big trade-off with Exness. See, they sign up a lot of retail clients through these offshore entities for a reason. It lets them offer things like extremely high leverage. But what's the catch? Well, these places usually have fewer built-in regulatory protections, and they often don't have mandatory investor compensation funds. So you're essentially trading a layer of regulatory safety for more powerful trading conditions. Okay, so we've got this safety stuff locked down. Now let's talk about something else that's super important: the price tag. Because even with the most secure broker in the world, high trading costs can just chew away at your profits over time. So let's get into how you actually pay to place a trade. Basically, you're going to run into two main types of costs: the spread and the commission. The spread is just that little difference between the buy and sell price of an asset. It's how most brokers make their money on standard accounts. A commission, on the other hand, is a separate, flat fee you pay for each trade, and that usually gets you access to the absolute tightest, raw spreads you can find. AvaTrade goes for really simple commission-free model. All the costs of trading are just built right into the spread. It's incredibly straightforward and transparent, which is why a lot of beginners and long-term investors really like it. What you see is exactly what you get. So, to make that real, a typical spread for a major pair, like the euro versus the US dollar, might be around 0.9 pips. A pip, don't worry about the jargon, it's just a tiny little measurement of price movement. For a standard-sized trade, that cost works out to be about $9, and it's all just included in the price you see right there on your screen. Exness, on the other hand, sticking to that high-speed engine philosophy, does things totally differently, and it's really designed for more active traders. Their professional accounts split the costs. You get access to ridiculously tight spreads, sometimes even zero, and you just pay a fixed commission on the side. So for example, on their professional accounts, the spread itself might be nothing, but you'll pay a flat commission of about $7 to open and close a standard trade. Now, if you're a trader making dozens, maybe even hundreds of trades a day, like a scalper or an algorithm, this fixed commission model can end up being way, way cheaper over time. So let's say you found a broker that's secure and the price is right for your style. What about the actual tools you're going to be staring at every single day? A trading platform needs to fit your strategy like a glove. So let's pop the hood and look at the toolkits these brokers give you. AvaTrade really gives you a whole ecosystem of platforms. You get the industry workhorses, MetaTrader 4 and 5, plus their own slick, user-friendly web trader and mobile app. But they also offer these specialized platforms for things like complex options trading or social copy trading, which really shows they're trying to cater to all kinds of different traders. Exness also gives you the full MetaTrader suite, of course, but you can tell they've poured a ton of effort into their own proprietary tech. It's all about improving that core trading experience. Their Exness terminal for the web and the Exness Trade app for mobile are designed for one thing above all else: performance. They're built to be fast, clean, and just plain efficient. And you know what? People are noticing. Listen to what Stephen Hatsakis from forexbrokers.com had to say about it. He loved the minimalist design of the Exness terminal because it made managing orders incredibly quick. It's all about getting rid of any friction for the active trader so they can jump on opportunities in an instant. All right, we've covered a lot of ground here. We've talked safety, we've crunched the numbers on costs, and we've peeked inside the toolkits. And through it all, two very different philosophies have really stood out: the protective fortress and the high-speed engine. Now comes the fun part, deciding which of these paths is the right one for you.
So who is AvaTrade really for? Well, that fortress is probably your perfect match if security and that rock-solid regulatory protection are your absolute top priorities. If you're a beginner who just wants a simple, all-in-one cost structure, or you're an investor looking to build a diverse portfolio with things like options and ETFs, this is a seriously compelling choice. But on the flip side, that Exness engine is probably calling your name if you're a really active, high-volume trader. If your entire strategy relies on shaving down costs with the tightest spreads possible, if you need razor-fast execution and instant access to your money, and if you're comfortable with those regulatory trade-offs to get perks like higher leverage, then this platform was practically built for you. Look, the big takeaway here is that you're not looking for the best broker in the world. That doesn't exist. What you're looking for is the broker that's best for you, for your personal strategy, your comfort with risk, and for what you value the most. Understanding these different philosophies is the real key to making a smart choice that actually works. And that really just leaves one last really important question. Now that you have the tools to compare them,